I got these animals on some creep pellets right now. I just got back from the fertilizer yard. I got them on some creep pellets. So I have officially, I'm starting to run out of feed, but I don't want to run out of feed. I want to give the last of the feed to the little calves because I don't want to change up their diet while they're getting preconditioned. And so I went ahead and I brought home about $150 worth of creep pellets. And so, and I'm going to feed these animals. I got another load of feed coming in on Monday morning. And so, and over the weekend here, I'm going to be selling these 3 animals. And so I was taking a look at everything, and this was actually okay. And I figured I'm not actually gonna sit down and crunch the numbers this morning. I'm actually just gonna do them right now, because this morning I actually had to go and buy myself fertilizer. So I was busy this morning, and so I didn't sit down and crunch my numbers, and I didn't take a look at my business and my business plan this morning while I was drinking my coffee, because I actually had to go to the fertilizer yard. And so I figured I would do that right now, and we could take a look at the numbers together. So okay, over the last 3 or 4 months, everything has just been kind of going pretty good. Things aren't going fantastic, but things are going good. All right, I would say that good is the right word. Things haven't gone phenomenal, right? It wasn't like it was a very wet, warm fall. I didn't have very much moisture in the fall. The summer went on for a very long time, but the commodity markets didn't go wonky or anything. In terms of that situation, things, when all things are considered, things went pretty good. Things didn't go phenomenal, but things went pretty good. Over the last 3 or 4 months, I've actually generated a substantial amount of positive equity. Last week I actually managed to bring home 8 animals, and my whole idea with the business plan, in terms of a broader idea, the business plan is effectively right now that I'm going to bring home animals at 200 pounds. I'm going to raise them for 5 months, and I'm going to raise 30 animals at a time. I'm going to raise them for 6 months, and when I raise them for 6 months, I will take them from 200 to 650. Right, I will take them from 200 pounds to 650 pounds. That's effectively the business plan as of right now, right? But not one detail has changed. Not one detail has changed to this day. It is the same exact business plan that I've been doing for I don't know how long, over a year. All right, and so it's the exact same business plan. That's effectively what I'm doing. I'm looking to liquidate. I want to put myself in a situation where I'm steadily liquidating animals every single month instead of liquidating a whole bunch of them, 5 months out of the year. I want to liquidate a certain number of animals every single month, because I believe that will make my business look better in terms of the eyes of the banker, right? I want my business to produce a stable, and I'm not gonna say want to. I just believe that it's better for me financially. Also, from my personal financial standpoint, it is better for me to produce an income for myself every single month. It's just better for me. It's easier to budget, and et cetera, et cetera. So let's take a look at everything that I got going on, and let's just talk about it in terms of what I got going on, because I actually haven't even crunched the numbers. I usually do this stuff. Do this stuff in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee. And I'll take a look at my business plan. I'll take a look at the balance sheet. I'll take a look at everything that I got going on. I'll take a look at what am I looking to do. I'll take a look at all that stuff usually in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee. But this morning I actually had to go to the fertilizer yard and pick up fertilizer. So here's what I see going on. Over the next about 2 months, for me to run my farm for about 2 or 3 months, somewhere between about 2 or 3 months, I will actually have to liquidate 4 of these big animals. When I liquidate 4 of these big animals, I will actually make enough money to buy everything that I need for about the next 2 or 3 months. And in terms of the business plan, I'm also looking to liquidate another 6 animals every single month. Right, that's the big idea. I want to liquidate about 6 animals every single month. But in terms of everything going on right now, things have just been kind of going pretty good for about 3 or 4 months. I actually brought home 8 animals, and I'm actually, if I sell 4 animals, I'll still have 34 animals left. And I don't really want to be in a situation where I'm expanding. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm growing my equity position even more. Not right now. I don't really want to be in that situation. I don't want to be growing my, I actually want to take some of the positive equity off of my herd. I want to take some of the equity off of my herd, but I don't really just want to sit on cash. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with it, right? And so let's say I sell 4 animals. So over the next 2 months, if I sell 4 animals, I will effectively buy, I will have enough money to buy everything that I need for about 2 or 3 months. That's effectively what's going to happen, right? I sell 4 animals, and when I sell these 4 animals, I will be able to buy everything that I need for about 2 or 3 months. That's what I anticipate is going to happen. So that leaves me with 34 animals. I have enough supplies to last me about 2 or 3 months. Over the next 2 months, let's just take the low estimate. Let's just say 2 months. I sold 4 animals, I made enough money, and I bought everything that I needed for just 2 months. Let's just take the low estimate, just to give myself a very conservative estimate. Let's say 2 months. Over the next 2 months, I still need to liquidate another 12 animals. And in all reality, I should probably liquidate 14. All right, I should probably liquidate 14. And and also I need to account for that I liquidated another 4 animals on top of that. So I actually liquidate total of 16 animals. Before the animals, I had to use that money to effectively buy everything that I needed. So I effectively liquidated 16 animals, but really I'm only going to be liquidating 12. Right, let's say I liquidate 12, and when I liquidate that 12, I actually make enough money to buy 20. Let's just say 20. Let's just say 20, just to give it a, a reasonable. 20 is a very reasonable estimate. I sell the 20, or I sell the 12, and I make enough money to buy 20. I have enough supplies to last me, and then whatever, right? But let's just take a look at it, okay? Actually, let's say I have to sell 5. Because let's just say I have to sell 5 animals, and then I can buy enough supplies to last me 3 months. Let's just say 5. And so and so I have to sell 5, and so I'm not going to be selling 16. I'm going to be selling 7, or I'm going to be selling 17, and 11 of them are going to be going to the sell barn, right? So let's say I have 19 animals. 19 animals, right? I have 19 animals. I'm net positive 2 animals again. I'm net positive 2 animals, and I'm already net positive 2 animals already, right? I mean, and then I need to honestly probably liquidate another 2 animals, right? I don't need to be liquidating 12 animals. I don't need to be liquidating 16 animals. I need to actually be liquidating 18, right? To keep my business, to keep my herd at 30, to take some of the positive equity off my herd. I don't just want to keep generating positive equity. Right, I already have enough positive equity. There's no reason for me to generate even more positive equity. Not right now. I will in the future, but not right now. But let's say I sell, I sell 12. I add another 2 onto it because I got whatever 32 animals, and I don't want 32 animals. I want 30, and I also have a massive amount of positive equity already in the herd. So I take another 2 animals, and then I liquidate. So I actually sell 14 animals, and then 5 animals worth of the money is what I actually need to use to keep my business afloat for the next 3 months. It's going to cost me about 5 animals worth of money. So I actually need to I need to liquidate how many animals is that? So I got 12. I add 2 onto that. That's 14, and then 5 more. So I liquidate 19 animals, okay? I liquidate 19 animals, but out of the 14 animals that I liquidate, when I liquidate those 14 animals, I effectively make enough money to, let's just say, buy 25. Because 14 really, let's just say, 25, 24, something like that. All right, let's just say 25 or 24, whatever you want. Let's just say 24 to make it a more of a conservative estimate, to lowball myself again. So I've sold 19 animals, and I've bought 24. I have not utilized any leverage at all. I have not utilized any leverage. I sold 19 and I bought 24, and it's only been 2 months. Let's say out of those 24, let's say 22 survive. I'm still net positive 3 animals. Right, I take a look at the animals and I say, well, these 19 animals are stabilized, and I'm actually not very concerned about these animals, and I don't want to be in a situation where I'm generating even more positive equity. So then I would have to take another 3 animals out of these big ones and liquidate. So by the 3rd month, I would actually have to sell 9 animals and not 6. And if I sell 9 big animals, and then I want to whatever. If I sell 9 big animals and whatever, right? And then continue on forever, right? I'm legitimately generating myself, positive equity every single month, right? But that's a very realistic way to look at it. I already have positive equity in my herd. I don't want to generate any more positive equity in my herd. I don't want to hold any more equity in my herd. If anything, whatever, right? If any, well, I want to generate as much equity. Let me put the whole thing into consideration. If I talk about the whole thing, I have a massive amount of positive equity in the herd as of right now, and I'm looking to expand my business by buying myself more real estate. Right, that's the big idea. I'm looking to buy myself more real estate, and for me to do that, I'm effectively just going to have to talk to the banker about it. I'm going to go and talk to the banker about it, and when I go and I talk to the banker about it, I'm effectively looking to just slap that banker in the face with money. Right, it's going to look very good if I have zero leverage. It's going to look very good if I have zero leverage and I'm making $20,000 a month. It's going to look very good. Right, I have zero leverage. I'm making $20,000 a month and I live on $4,000. I mean, I legitimately have $16,000 a month of net excess income that I'm not even using. I legitimately do nothing with it. I just sit there with 16 grand every single month. That looks very good. I'm gonna show that to the banker. Right, that's the big idea. Right, it looks very good. Oh, it's like, oh, you're making like you're making $20,000 a month. You're living on $4,000. And you're just sitting there with $16,000 a month every single month. That looks very good, right? That looks very good, and I want to show that to the banker. And I want to show that to the banker so that I can get myself a big piece of real estate. But that's the big idea. I mean, let's take a look at it for what it is. I mean, when I sell these three animals right now, I will actually buy myself enough. And let's actually take a harder look at it. I guess just to change the time scale. Let's say let's say I sell these three animals right now, and with that 3 animals worth of money, I actually pay off all of my grain debt, and I buy myself enough grain and fertilizer for the entire next month. So by March, by the time March comes around, I'll be able to liquidate another 6 animals. And when I liquidate the 6 animals, let's say I make enough money to buy 10. All right. And so I take a look at my situation and I say, well, if I liquidate these 6 animals and I buy 10, if I liquidate 6 animals and I buy 10, I go and I buy 10, and then I'm net positive another 4 animals. I take a look at my situation and I say, well, I'm running out of grain. Right, I need to buy some more feed. I need to buy some more fertilizer. Then I go and I take another one of these, 1 or 2 of these animals, and I liquidate them. Even then I would, and out of the 10, let's say 9 survive. Then I'm still generating a positive. I would actually have to increase the number of animals that I liquidate every single month. And so, and this is the whole thing about it. I don't know exactly how much money I generate, but it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a lot. It just is what it is. I've always said that money is not an opinion. Money is not an opinion. All right. Money is not an opinion. It is a statement of fact. I don't know how much money I make. I make a boatload. That's how much I make. And when I take a look at my situation, and you take a look at my situation, and I've talked about money in terms of an idea. And if you take a look at my situation and you go, I wonder why this guy's net worth is so high. Why do I have such a massive net worth? Why is that? I've already answered this question, right? It's effectively because I can effectively do this as many times as I want. That's the big idea with me. How many people do you know? It's like if you took everything away from them, if they legitimately went to zero today, that they could legitimately start themselves $1 million business within 6 months. How many people do you know that could do that? Not very many. I'm one of the very few. That's what makes me that, when I take a look at my net worth and I'm like, why is my net worth so astronomical? I mean, if you legitimately take a look at how much money I generate every single year, I mean, we're talking about like, I actually 99.99999% of the entire country was actually closer to being homeless than to making as much money as me in the year 2024. Homeless, legitimately a bum. That's how much money I made. And when I take a look at it and it's like, why do I generate, how did I generate such a massive amount of money? But that's the big reason why. Because me, effectively, I'm able to do this. I could, even if I had $0 right now, if I lost my farm and I lost all my cattle, it wouldn't even matter. I could redo everything in 3 seconds. All right, I could legitimately redo everything in 3 seconds. It wouldn't even matter. All right, it would not matter. All right, and that is very valuable. Right? I mean, that's a very, very, very good skill to have. It's very important. I could legitimately lose all of my cattle. I could lose all of my land, and within 3 seconds, I would just redo everything. I would just get myself another piece of land, just get myself another group of cattle, and just redo everything. It wouldn't even take me 3 seconds. All right, and when I take a look at my cash flow, I mean, it's like I don't even know how much money I generate, but here's a very realistic way to look at it. Within the next 5 months, I will actually have zero debt on my cattle. I will have zero debt on my cattle within 5 months. That's how, and do I want to really be in that situation? No, I don't want to be in that situation. I realistically, I utilize leverage, okay? I get tax benefits for it, and I make more money when I do it. All right, I can actually increase the profitability of my business by utilizing debt. All right, but within 5 months, I will legitimately have zero leverage. I will have zero leverage. I will have zero debt, and I will have a stabilized group of animals. I will be generating an extensive amount of money every single month. I will be generating an excessive amount of money every single month, and I'm gonna go and show that to the banker. That's the big idea. I have zero leverage on my animals. I'm making $15,000-$20,000 a month. I live on $4,000. I'm legitimately in a situation where I sit around with about $15,000 a month of net excess money that I don't even do anything with it. I can't even spend it if I wanted to. You can't, logically, there is not a reasonable way to spend $15,000 a month. It's not possible. It is not possible. There is no logical way to do it. If I was legitimately going to go and spend $15,000 a month, I would have to start doing drugs. Or I would have to start, having some major gambling problem. There is legitimately zero way to logically spend $15,000 a month. It's not possible. All right, and granted, but I mean, it's like if we're talking about big homes and things like that, I mean, sure, but I mean that kind of stuff, that kind of, I don't need a giant house, right? I don't need that right now. I mean, what am I gonna do with that? Right, I want to grow my business. And when I grow my business, if I, realistically, I'm just going to be completely honest. If I wanted a house, I just buy it. All right, do I really want a house? No, I don't. All right, I've already talked about homes as an investment. Homes are not a good investment. Just because you have some money in a home does not mean that, what are you going to do, retire with that? You can't. Right, I mean, eventually the home's gonna break and you're gonna have to fix it, and et cetera, massive problems. I mean, homes are not a good investment. I mean, but if I wanted one, I could just buy one. It wouldn't matter. All right, I could just leverage whatever, $4,000 a month and just buy a big one. It wouldn't matter, $5,000 a month, whatever it is, and I can just buy it. And so, but that's the, that's the whole situation right now, right? I mean, I'm going to sell these 3 animals. When I sell these 3 animals, I'll make enough money to effectively run my farm for an entire month, or, about another month. And, by the time next month comes around, I'll have to sell 6 animals. And when I sell 6 animals, realistically, I honestly have to probably sell about 8 because I have some positive equity, and I don't want I don't want to generate more positive equity. And so I'll sell 8. And when I sell 8, I'll make enough money to effectively buy 14. But let's say I sell 7 because I need to use 1 animal worth of money to buy more grain and whatever, right? And whatever it may be. So I have 7, and when I sell the 7, I make enough money to buy 12, right? And then when I sell but technically I sold 8, but I sold 8 and I came home with 12. I came home with 11, whatever, whatever. If I need to pull some extra money out to buy whatever, let's just say I sold 8 and I came home with 11. Right, then my positive equity problem has become even worse, and I need to actually liquidate more of these big animals. But then when I liquidate more of the big animals, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm just holding on to cash, right? And so, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. But that, I would say in all honesty, I probably generate, if I'm legitimately going to go into a situation where I'm utilizing zero leverage, if I'm legitimately going to go into a situation where I'm utilizing zero leverage, my straight cash flow for this business would probably be somewhere around $15,000 a month. That would be very low estimate. Somewhere between 12 and 15,000. And also, you got to consider that within the next month, I'm going to be growing grass. And when I'm growing grass, I mean, my costs tank. My costs legitimately go like half. All right, so the amount of money that it's going to take for me to run my business is effectively going to go downhill off of a cliff, and my profits are going to skyrocket. All right, so I don't know how much money I make. I don't. I just know that it is a lot. That's how much money I make. When you take a look at my net worth and you take a look at me and you go, this is like legitimately like the wealthiest guy I have ever seen in my life. But that's why my net worth is so high. Is because I can effectively just do this however many times that I want. People are going to eat beef forever. I guarantee it. By the time, even when I'm 90, people will still be eating beef and land will still be valuable. I guarantee it. I would bet money. If anything, the price of beef is actually going to go up, and the price of land is actually going to go up too. I talk about this all the time. If you go out and if you legitimately think that it is so bad that you have to, like, if you go and you buy a 20-acre piece of land right now, it costs about $1,000 a month. If you buy a 20-acre field, it will cost you about $1,000 a month. And if you think that that is so horrible, that is unfair, oh my God, I can't believe it, $1,000 for 20 acres, I can't believe it. In 10 years, it will probably be $1,200. It's going to get even worse. I would be willing to bet. In 10 years, it's actually even going to be worse. It'd probably be $1,200. All right, so if you legitimately think that $1,000 a month is so bad and it is so unfair that you can't do it, it will probably get worse in 10 years. It will probably cost you $1,200 in 10 years. All right, and so, it's good. You should probably get started. All right, and I've already said that if you legitimately want to be in a situation where you want to go and farm, then buy yourself a 20-acre field. It'll cost you about $1,000 a month, and then you do it or you die in the process. Those are the only two options you have as of now. You don't oh my God, everything's impossible and everything's unfair, I can't believe it, throw myself a pity party, oh my God, right? There is none of that anymore. You either do it or you die in the process. Those are your only two options. All right, and get to the 10% mark as fast as you can, as logically as you can. Learn as much as you can, and then learn how to do it, and then go and when you get to the 10% mark, at least you'll be able to practice for free. All right, you'll make enough money to actually be able to pay for your land and pay for your business, and then you can practice for free. And then in 15 years, maybe you make it too. But I don't know how much money I make. I just know it's a lot. I make a lot. That's how much I make. I don't know how much I make. When you take a look at my net worth and you're like, this is the highest net worth individual I've ever seen in my entire life. I legitimately made more money in 2024 in a very realistic way. To take a look at how much money I generated in the year 2024, just to take a look at it for what it is that 99.99999% of the entire country was actually closer monetarily to being homeless than they were to making as much money as me. That's the reality of the amount of money that I generate. All right, it just is what it is. It's a statement of fact. All right, like my situation right now, I can run my entire business for like another month. I'm gonna sell these 3 animals. I'm gonna pay for my grain. I'm gonna buy more grain, and I've already, I got my fertilizer that I gotta pay for, and I bought it today, and by next month I'll have to sell another 6 animals, and really I'll have to sell 8. Because, I got all of this positive equity in my herd. I don't just want to continue to build positive equity in my herd. I figure I might as well just cash it out. So, if I sell 8, I'll actually make enough money to buy whatever, right? But out of the 8, let's say I need to use 1.5 animals worth of money to keep my business running for another month. So I sell 6.5, and when I sell 6.5, let's say I make enough money to buy 11, and so I sold 8 and I bought 11, so I'm net positive 3 animals again. That means the next month I actually need to liquidate another 3 animals. Right, it's 3 of the big animals. I'm not going to go around and I'm not going to turn around and sell 3 animals out of my preconditioning pen. I'm going to sell the 3 biggest animals that I have on top of the 6 animals that I need to sell for the month. So the number of animals that I'm liquidating every single month is actually going up. Right, my income is actually going up every single month. And And that's when I give very, 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 very conservative estimates. If I legitimately look at my situation and I say, you know what, when I sell these 8 animals, I don't, when I sell these 6.5 animals, I don't want to buy 11, I want to buy 13, then I can go and take a loan for $2,300 and just buy another load of grain, and I can feed the animals for 1 more month, and then the equity valuation of the animals that I'm liquidating will actually go up, and etc., etc., right? I mean, there are a lot of different ways for me to make money, depending on how much money I have. I utilize it doing these various things, etc., etc., right? I mean, holding on to cash is not making money. I have plenty of cash. I can get cash whenever I want. All right, I have plenty of cash. I don't need to worry about that. All right, cash is not going to do anything. All right, if I can make a positive return on grain and whatever, right? But I am going to be in a situation where I am pulling cash out of my business, and I'm only going to do that until I can get the banker to effectively approve me for a big loan for a piece of land. That's how long I'm going to do it for. I'm going to hold on to cash until the banker gives me a loan for a big piece of land. And so but that's the situation. When I take a look at it, I liquidate 6. Let's say I liquidate 6, and let's say I liquidate 6, and but let's say I liquidate 5, and then one animal worth of money in terms of the spring. Like when I have grass, 1 animal worth of money to keep my business running for a month when I have 35 animals is a very reasonable estimate. It's going to cost about 1 animal worth of money. And so let's say I honestly liquidate 5, and I liquidate 5, and with the 5 I make enough money to buy 9. I make enough money to buy 8, whatever, lowball myself and say 8. So I sold 6 animals and I bought 8. I utilized 0 leverage. Let's say one of the animals died. Then let's say I end up with 8 or 7 or 8. I still am net positive 1 animal, 2 animals. And when I'm net positive 1 or 2 animals, I'm not going to sell animals out of the preconditioning pen. I'm going to sell 1 or 2 of the biggest animals that I have. So the next month I would not be liquidating 6 animals. I would be liquidating 7 or 8. And if I liquidate 7 or 8, I mean, and I continuously do that every single month, effectively, until, every single month, the number of animals that I liquidate will actually go up. It will actually continue to go up. My income will actually increase every single month, even if I utilize 0 leverage. But within 5 months, I would actually anticipate that all of my leverage has been paid for. I legitimately have 0 debt on my cattle. Within 5 months, I would actually say that I have 0 debt on my cattle, and I have a herd that is stabilized. And when I have a herd that is stabilized and 0 debt on my cattle, I'm going to show that to the banker. And then I'm going to show that to the banker. I'm going to get myself a big loan. And then at that point, I'm going to leverage against everything that I have 1 for 1. And that's how I'm going to effectively expand my business. That's the big idea. All right. If I go to the sell barn, and let's say I go to the sell barn and I sell 6 animals, but I need 1 animal worth of money to run my business for a month. With the 5 animals that I sold, I made enough money to buy, let's say 9. Let's say I bought 8 or 9, and 1 of them died. So now I have 7 or 8. I would still buy the 7 or 8 cattle, and then I would come home. I would raise the animals, and then the next month I would liquidate one of my bigger animals. I would not liquidate a small little dinker calf. All right, that's how I would do it. I would liquidate a bigger animal. So I would effectively have to increase the number of animals that I am liquidating every single month. Every single month I would have to, and then if something goes wrong, if something happens, there was an outbreak of BRD, whatever, right? And sometimes it's like when I bring home a sick calf, that calf, I also got it for very cheap. And, you got to consider all these things. And it's very difficult to exactly tell you I don't know how to map it. Keeping track of everything is not something that I do, right? I do things, I effectively make the choices when they need to be made. It's very difficult to map all of this. It's very difficult to tell you, like if I sat down on a piece of paper and I was going to tell you everything on a piece of paper, I could not do it. There's a lot of moving parts. But that's another way to look at it. Even if I utilize 0 leverage, Even if I utilize zero leverage, the number of animals that I would have to liquidate every month would continue to rise by 1 or 2 animals every single month, and that's actually going to compound. All right, so I don't know how much money I make. I make a lot. That's how much I make. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And when you take a look at my net worth and you go, why is my net worth so high? But my net worth is effectively so high because I can effectively, you know, like even if I lost everything today, if I lost my land and I lost my cattle and I lost my business, I could redo everything in 3 seconds. I could redo it all. It doesn't matter to me. And that is what makes me so valuable, right? In terms of, you know, why is my net worth so high? And in terms of money, you know, I generate an excessive amount of money. I generate enough money to not worry about money forever. That's how much money I make. I legitimately don't worry about money at all. 0%. I'm being completely honest to God. I don't worry about money. I don't worry about money. There is not one part of, I have 0% of me that is worried about money. 0%. All right, I don't worry about money. You know, I think about other things. What does my balance sheet look like? What is the appraisal value of my animals? You know, what range is the commodity market in? You know, let me make a business plan for different ranges of the commodity markets. That's the kind of stuff that I think about. Oh yeah, and I also think that corn is going to go lower. I was actually looking at the commodity markets yesterday. And I think that corn's going to go lower. I took a look at the numbers and I ran the numbers, and I actually think that corn is going to go lower. And if the corn goes lower, I think that it's going to provide a little bit of stability for the higher prices in cattle. I was taking a look at the commodity markets yesterday, and I was crunching some numbers. You know, fertilizer applications. What if 180 bushels of corn is gonna need about 180 pounds of nitrogen. If you use 180 pounds of nitrogen, and let's say use a 515, right, and then for every 180 pounds of nitrogen, you're gonna have to use 180 pounds of potassium and 18 pounds of phosphorus. And then I ran the numbers for the fertilizer, and then I ran the numbers for diesel, and I took a look at it, and I think that there is a substantial amount of money to be made in corn right now, and I think that that's going to cause corn prices to go down. I think that corn prices are not going to stay at $5 a bushel for very long. I don't think so. I was taking a look at the numbers yesterday, and I actually think that corn prices are going to go down. I don't know how far, but and I don't think that they're going to go to 4, but I do think that corn prices are going to go lower, and lower corn prices is good for the feeder cattle market. All right, but it could not be good. I don't know. Overall, usually it's a good thing, but I thought that when I, and I was saying this, but I thought that when corn was 480, when corn hit 480, I thought it was going to cause negative pressure on the feeder cattle market, but the feeder cattle market actually broke the other way. So if corn goes down to 480, we might see cattle fall back down to 250. We might. I don't know, right? I don't know. That was one thing that whatever, right? I took a look at it, and it went the other way. Corn went, when I thought corn went to 480, I thought that the feeder cattle market was going to start to fall, but it went the other way. The feeder cattle market went higher. I honestly think that corn prices are going to go a bit lower. And when corn prices going lower, it might take the feeder cattle market back down to 250. I don't know. I don't think that the feeder cattle market is falling to 2.25 this year, though. I don't think so, but it might. Who knows? But even if it does, as long as it doesn't fall to $2, and it doesn't matter to me what the feeder cattle market does. It could go up, it could go down. It doesn't matter to me. If I sell them cheap, I'll buy them cheap. It doesn't matter to me, right? I've talked about this. If I sell them cheap, I'll buy them cheap. If I sell them for expensive, I'll buy them for expensive. I don't worry about the commodity markets. The reason I don't worry about the commodity markets is effectively because I buy and sell into them very frequently. So it doesn't matter. I'll always effectively be trading the average. Right, and in terms of the corn market, I don't care about the corn market because if I grow grass, I don't need that much corn anyway. It doesn't matter to me what the price of corn is. If I grow grass, it doesn't matter. Grass is practically free. I don't need any equipment to bale it. Right, my cattle walk around and eat it. It doesn't matter to me what the price of corn is. All right, my cattle, I don't need any equipment. The grass is practically free to grow. The animals put on a lot of weight with it. It doesn't matter to me what the price of corn is. I don't care what the price of corn does. I just keep an eye on it. All right, and so, that's the whole thing, right? And, but I'm just going to be completely honest about it. I'm just stating a fact. the amount of money that I make every single month is actually going to continue to go up every single month because I'm going to compound my growth. I'm going to be compounding my growth by reinvesting my earnings. The amount of money that I make is actually going to go up every single month by about 1 or 2 cattle. All right, but that would be in a situation where I reinvest my earnings and I don't use any leverage at all, which I'm not going to do. In reality, what I'm going to do is I'm not even going to be reinvesting my earnings. I'm going to be taking the positive equity off of my herd. I'm going to be paying back my debt. I'm going to be holding on to some cash, and then I'm going to show that to the banker so that they give me a loan for a big piece of land. That's the big ideal right now. And when I get my big piece of land, I will leverage. At that point, I will leverage against my herd 1 for 1. I will expand my balance sheet, and then I will continue to increase the amount of money that I make. And the amount of money that I make at that point, if I utilize leverage, will actually increase, to almost by about 50%. And then that 50% is actually going to compound as well. And so, my income is actually going to continue to trickle higher every single month, even if I don't use debt. All right, my income will actually continue to increase every single month, compounding. I don't know how much money I make. I make a lot. I legitimately make enough money to not worry about money. That's how much money I make. All right, legitimately, that is my situation. I make enough money to not worry about money. All right, I don't, my net worth is very good. I don't know what my net worth is. It's multiple millions of dollars. I don't know what it is. And when I take a look at my net worth, why is my net worth so high? It just is what it is. I mean, I could, even if I lost all of my cattle and all of my land today and I lost my business, I could redo everything in 3 seconds. All right, how many people do you know? It's like if you legitimately just put them on a field in the middle of nowhere by themselves and you came back 6 months later, they would have started themselves, and they would be making $25,000 a month. How many people do you know that can do that? Not very many. I'm probably the only one. I would start my own business. I would go and source my cattle. I would grow the grass by myself. I would go and talk to the banker, go and get my whatever I needed. I would do it. I could do it all by myself. How many people do you know that I could legitimately just drop this guy off in the middle of a field in the middle of nowhere, Central Texas, just drop him off there. And if I come back in 6 months, he will have, effectively just started making himself $20,000 a month. How many people do you know that can do that? Not very many. I'm probably the only one. And that is why my net worth is so astronomical. If you actually take a look at how much money I generated in the year 2024, 99.99999% of the entire country was actually closer to being homeless than to making as much money as me. Effectively everybody. All right, I mean, I don't know how else to put that. It just is what it is. I'm not bragging about it. I'm just stating a fact. All right, I don't know how else to put it. I'm just stating a fact. Money talks. Nobody cares about an opinion. It's just money. It's a fact. It's not an opinion. All right, but I'm about to start generating a large amount of money. I don't even know how much money I'm going to generate, but it's going to be a lot. I got some positive equity on my herd that I want to liquidate. I got animals I need to be going to market every single month. I got these 3 animals that I'm going to liquidate, and I'm effectively good to go for the entire next month, maybe even month and a half. Sometime between now and April, I actually anticipate that my grass is going to start growing in very good. My profits are going to go astronomical, and and as I go, I can because it's very difficult for me to map exactly what's happening, but I can tell you what's happening when it happens. When the closer that I get to it, the better that I can see it. And I don't even know how much money I make. I make a lot. That's how much I make. All right, an excessive amount. That's how much I make. All right, I don't even know, but I know that I don't worry about money. I don't even worry about money. I don't worry about money at all. That's how much money I make. And the amount of money that I make is actually going to go up every single month. Even if I utilize zero leverage, it's still going to continue to go up every single month. And I'm going to expand my cattle, and and if I have too much positive equity, I'll just liquidate some off the top. I'll liquidate the bigger animals. I'm not going to stop bringing home smaller animals. I want to keep my preconditioning pens full, and I'll liquidate some of the bigger animals off the top if necessary. But I really want to at least take these animals to 600 pounds. And so, but that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.